Hey guys, welcome back. So recently I reviewed a set of smart string or patio lights from a company called Lumary. Now they sent over another set of outdoor smart lights, but this time these are their RGBAI outdoor spotlight. Now these spotlights are meant to be used, in your garden, basically somewhere outdoors. Now, if you don't already know, I live in an apartment, so I don't have a backyard. So I had to think creatively to test these out. Now, before I talk about how I use them and how I set them up, let's talk a bit about the unboxing. So in the box, you do get a manual that shows you how to set it up. And yes, you do need to download the Lumary app. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But also you do get the lights. So the lights actually span for about 56 feet, but do know you only get about 6 lights each. But for each spotlight, you do get sort of a stake that you can attach so that you can spear it through the ground. Now, in terms of build quality, I was pleasantly surprised. Now, the previous product, those patio lights that I reviewed, those were predominantly, or pretty much everything was made of plastic. From the wires, everything was just a different sort of plastic. These spotlights, however, obviously you do get rubber or plastic cables, but in terms of the actual spotlight, the entire body is actually made of metal and feels really sturdy. We'll talk about the performance a little bit later on, but again, like I said, everything's made of metal. It feels really sturdy. One thing to note though, if you live in Canada like me, or if you live in a really cold place, it does have a specific threshold in terms of the operating temperature. So it works well between -20 and -45 degrees Celsius. So now let's talk about how I actually set them up. Now, like I said, it's meant to be used outdoors. They give you stakes that you can screw. It's pretty easy. You just put it underneath that's sort of like a U bracket. Screw the stake on, and then you can actually pierce it to the ground. I couldn't do that because I don't have a garden or a backyard or anything like that. So I did the same thing that I did with the previous patio light. So I actually sort of tied the patio lights around my balcony rail. So I decided to do the same thing with the spotlights as well. So what I did was I just used a very specific kind of Velcro that I bought when I moved to Canada. And I have to say, the guys over at LTT, those Velcro straps are freaking amazing. I thought they would all be the same no matter which one I bought, but they are really, really strong. But yeah, so I used those Velcros. I used 2 each because they were a little short for me. But yeah, I just stuck them around the rail, and yeah, actually looks nice. Now, when I say it looks nice, in the day time when you wouldn't really turn it on anyway, the way I set it up on the rail, you can see a lot of wiring, so it doesn't look great then. But when the sun goes down and it gets dark, it actually looks really nice. You can't see the cable because everything is black. Now, before I talk a bit more about the performance of the spotlights, I have to talk a little bit about pairing them to the app. Now, I gotta be honest, it wasn't the greatest experience. Now, I think it's only fair that I mention that when I tested out the smart patio lights previously from Lumary, pairing them were a breeze. It was really easy. It connected immediately, no issues there whatsoever. However, with these spotlights, I don't know whether because it's really new and maybe they need to update the app or something, maybe specifically for Android, but I had quite a lot of problems getting them paired. Now, actually discovering the spotlights was almost instantaneous. The minute I tapped on the button to pair it, it discovered it immediately. I tried to connect to it. It would go through the entire thing and then tell me that, oh, the device connection timed out. Tried this 2-3 times. I tried disconnecting the spotlights and plugging in back again. I even restarted my phone. I even uninstalled and reinstalled the app, and I made sure that I had the latest version, but I still kept having the same issues. The weird thing is though, the next time when I tried to pair and it failed and I tried to go back into the app again, I suddenly saw the spotlights in the app. So somehow it connected, but it told me it timed out. It's really weird, but that's not the end of it. Now, once it connected, it asked me, to update the firmware, which is totally normal. So I tried, but again, the same issue. It would connect to it, but then it would tell me that it timed out. It wasn't able to update the firmware. And then I decided, okay, I'll shut down the app, restart it again. But when I restarted the app, it was updated. The firmware was updated. I even got a notification telling me that it was updated. So my guess is that it actually successfully completed, like the pairing of the spotlights before, successfully completed the firmware update, but somehow it would tell me that it timed out. I'm not quite sure why. There might be something that you need to work on to maybe update the app. But if you bought these spotlights, you're using Android and you face the same issue, just remember, even if they time out, chances are it actually paired successfully. Alright, but back to the spotlight. So I got everything set up, I wait for the sun to go down, and the first time I turned it on to the sort of like a warm color, very similar to the patio lights, and I have to say, it looked absolutely beautiful. Now, the string lights or the patio lights that I tested out before, when I turned them on, they're not really meant to illuminate an area, they're just more aesthetic than anything else. It adds just a very dim light. These spotlights, however, were quite a bit brighter, and when I turned them on, it actually lit up the entire ground of my balcony. And yes, these lights, just like the Lumary patio lights, are both RGB. So yes, you have RGB colors that you can test out. You've got different presets that you can use. You can even choose the speed in which they change their colors. It was really nice. So overall, I'm very impressed with the spotlights. The product itself, full metal housing, feels really solid. It's relatively bright, a lot brighter than I expected it to be. Everything was great. My only complaint is that there really is no way to sync the spotlights with the patio light. Now, I understand that the way I've set up the patio lights and the spotlight is pretty unique situation, and it's unlikely that, you know, it's going to be set up anywhere else. But imagine if I had patio lights in the backyard and I've got the spotlights shining on the ground or on different plants. I would like them to sort of have the same pattern or sync or show the same colors at the same time. Now, I could be wrong about this, but I couldn't find a way to sync them so that they showed the exact same colors at the exact same time. If there was a way to sort of group these devices and then set your colors and patterns within the group, that would be amazing and would sort of improve the whole ecosystem, encouraging people to buy the same brand. So Lumary, if you're watching this and if that feature is not available on the app, it really should be. Now, do I think that they represent good value for money? Actually, yes, I do. They do need to work on the app again, like with the issues that I faced before, but those I think would be purely software updates or firmware updates. But the product itself, the spotlights, is built really well. I was pleasantly surprised. Even the sticks were actually made of metal, so it's not something you're gonna have to worry about breaking or anything like that. Overall build quality, I would give it an A+. Alright, so that about wraps up my review of the RGBAI outdoor spotlights by Lumary. Now, if you like this video, you know what to do, and I would love it if you would subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to receive notifications on our next video. I'm JP, and I'll see you real soon.